And welcome everyone to the Gold and Silver Club end of week review presented by myself, Phil Carr, and Nick Housey at the Gold and Silver Club. Today we'll be reviewing the latest developments in the commodities markets. We'll be analysing the week's performance. The live session will cover an end of week summary for the commodities. So we'll be looking at gold, silver, oil, natural gas, coffee, amongst other commodities. We'll cover the top trades of the week. We'll be doing live market commentary and technical analysis. And of course, we'll be answering any questions you may have on today's call as well. We'll take a look at the price of gold right now. We're currently trading at $1,145 per ounce. So we shall take a look at the technicals very shortly. I'll just go through some of the top trades that we've had this week using the Gold and Silver Club signature trading strategies. So those are as follows. So first of all, we had a lovely sell short which hit our take profit target this week on platinum. This was a trade that we took after the FOMC announcement, just a couple of days after when this actually triggered and we broke down on platinum. The risk on the trade was 200 points, so $2,000 for each lot traded for a profit here of 400 points, so $4,000 for each lot traded for a 2-to-1. We also had a lovely short opportunity on Brent crude oil this week as we continue to break down. We had the risk on this trade of 75 points, so $750 risk for each lot traded for 190 points profit, $1,900 profit for a 2-to-1. And we also had a lovely sell short opportunity again on gold to take advantage of an additional breakdown in price, so breaking down from a key support level. The risk on the trade 100 points, so $1,000 for each lot traded for a profit of 200 points, $2,000 for each lot for a lovely 2-to-1. So we've had some nice sell short opportunities this week across the commodities. So as we're coming into non-farm payroll this afternoon, in the next 2.5 hours, we will have the non-farm payroll announcement. We can take a look at how the markets are starting to line up pre-NFP. So let's just go over to the technicals now and I'll talk you through each one of these. First of all, I'll just go through platinum. We've been discussing this a lot on these weekly webinars, and I'll just talk you through the technicals and what happened here. So you can see here that we formed a pennant formation going back to mid-October, and just after the FOMC is actually where we continue to break down. We also had a lovely setup here on the higher time frames, which you can see here, had a really nice breakdown in price, and we've come down. We're very close to actually breaking again the 3-year lows here on platinum, so we could certainly see more downside. This will be one to watch certainly again on non-farm payroll today. We can see getting a little bit of support here, but essentially we've come out of our swing trade at the moment in really good profits, and we'll be looking for an additional entry here if we continue to get a breakdown below the 2014 lows. Another market which has been fantastic this week has been copper. Copper really just continuing to stay within this very clear trend channel. So you can see it on the higher time frames as well. Very clear downward trending channel. Every time we've come up to the resistance of this trend line, we've produced some nice setups here in order to get back short again. We had a lovely setup here after the FOMC last week, which was right at the top of this resistance channel. There's been a couple of opportunities actually to get back into this trade as well. And now what I'm looking for is a rotation back towards the lower end of this trend line now. So I'm looking for a move, first of all, just to take out the swing low of this week, and then just to come back down to the lower end of the channel here. And ultimately, if we can break through some key support zones, we could be heading quite a lot lower here. So again, on the higher time frames of copper, we've got quite a key zone which we'd like to see broken if we continue to get a sell-off here, which is going to sit around 2.9609. So copper for me is definitely one to watch to see if we're going to get further downside and see if we will come down and take out that swing low. Could also see quite a nice V-shaped pattern here which is starting to form on copper. So if we can just take out the neckline on that, here's the nice V-shape, we could be due more downside. So you can see that quite clearly on the daily here as well. Let me just make that a little bit clearer. Okay, so we've got nice confluence there with this downward trending channel. You've got confluence on the weekly as well on the higher time frames, and we're just looking to come down and take out 2.9498 for further downside here, looking for a rotation towards the lower end of this channel. So copper looking very good at the moment as we come into non-farm payroll for potentially further downside here. Looking at the US dollar index, the US dollar index broken out now to 3-year highs. We've had an incredible move on the US dollar since last week, since the FOMC and the termination of quantitative easing of QE3. We've had some really strong solid moves to the upside. We can see here with the US dollar, we are taking a little bit of a breather at the moment on the daily, starting to consolidate, and some indecision on the US dollar just prior to non-farm payroll this afternoon. So We're definitely expecting a high impact move this afternoon, and we can see here if we were to get a continuation and further breakouts here and potentially take out the 4-year highs, we would be looking to put pressure. If that was to happen, that scenario, we would put pressure on the precious metals. Certainly we could see more downside there. We can see we've got a very strong channel here at the moment on the US dollar index. If the US dollar index does pull back today on non-farm payroll, that could be supportive for the metals. So we're looking at 2 major scenarios there, and we're definitely going to be keeping a close eye on the US dollar index and this correlation. Moving across to gold. So gold, of course, will be a very big focus for non-farm payroll this afternoon. We've had some tremendous sell short opportunities here, both from the FOMC just last week, from a breakdown of these key support zones, which has really continued to escalate over this week. We've had a beautiful move. So if you have a look actually the swing high and swing low from the FOMC statement, we've actually moved now about 900 points since the FOMC last Wednesday. So it's been incredible, and we can clearly see that the end of quantitative easing has had a bullish effect on the US dollar and a negative effect on the metals here. So the big question is, where is gold going to bottom out at the moment? So we have come down to a new low again here of $1,131 an ounce, so 4-year lows here on gold at the moment. You can see we've produced a little bit of a hammer, actually, some rejection from that key zone. Quite interesting coming into non-farm payroll today. What I'd be looking at here, because we've had quite a strong downward trend at the moment, is I want to see if we do get a retracement. We've got, first of all, the 1160 level up here to see if we get a retracement up to that previous support becomes new resistance, or whether we just come up to that level and form a rejection, and then we just come back down again within the overall trend. So there'd be traders looking to get into additional short positions on any retracements at the moment. If we do get a break above 1160, then we could come back to this major zone again at 1180, which was the key support which broke just after the FOMC, which was the 3-year lows here on gold. So these are the key levels which I'll be looking at for a potential retracement if we do get a breakout to the upside. So first of all, 1160 and also 1180. Non-farm payroll often very erratic, so we'll see whether we do get that sort of breakout. If we do just sell off and take out 1131 here, I'll be looking at around the 1100s for the next key level of support. So you could be looking at anywhere from a 200 to 300 point move. We're likely to take out more stops if we do get a break below the 1131 zone here on gold. So gold looking very interesting. We are getting a bit of a rejection this morning prior to non-farm payroll. So I'm interested to see if this follows through and we get a breakout to 1160 or 1180, or whether we just immediately sell off and we come down, take out 1130, and we get a retest of the 1100. So that's what I'm seeing on gold right now. If we go over to silver, very similar situation. Silver's broken down to new 4-year lows this week as well. We've actually come as low as $15 per ounce on silver. If we just take it down and just have a look at the daily at the moment, we can see very similar situation to gold. We've continued to break down this week. We can see previous rejections have just turned around and continued lower here. The next key level of support I'm looking at is around the 1450 to 1470 zone. If we were to continue to break down here on silver, that's some major swing lows going back historically on the chart around those levels. At the moment, again, we may get a, if we do get a bearish move on the US dollar, if the numbers come out as negative for the US today, the job numbers from NFP, we may get a retracement here, and I'll be looking for breakouts up to 1572 or 1664 for potential moves to the upside. And then again, as we come into next week, these may, unless we can form a short-term low here, we'll be looking to take these previous swing lows as new entry points to get short with confirmation. Okay, so any retest of those levels is where we'd be looking for the market to come up and then essentially give us some confirmation to get back down within the downward trend and get a better price to continue to sell short here at the moment. So we'll see how that pans out. At the moment, we may get a brief breakout, knee-jerk reaction here up to 1572 or possibly 1664, or if we do get a breakout and a continuation lower here on silver, we're looking for a breakdown of $15 an ounce, and essentially next psychological support will be around the 1450 level. So that's what we'll be looking at on silver this afternoon. Moving over to the energies here, We've had a tremendous breakout on natural gas. So if this time last week we were discussing this previous support zone, which has become a new resistance, we had a nice V-shaped reversal pattern here as well. So if you were on last week's session or you caught the recording, this was where we had the close on Friday. So we formed a nice V-shaped reversal pattern. We had an incredible gapping on the open on Sunday, so it's quite a large move here. We had circa about 130 point gap. You definitely wouldn't want that to be gapped against you on the opens. That was a large breakout to the upside, and we've just continued to break out this week. Even on the storage inventories yesterday, which were initially we saw a negative move, we've then completely turned around. We've had a huge breakout to the upside. In fact, yesterday's volatility was much larger than normal. We've got about, in terms of the, let's have a look at the daily from the high to the low on yesterday's candle here. Yeah, it's a huge candle, so circa about 300, over 300 points in volatility. So that was a massive breakout to the upside, and we can see here really the momentum that seems to be continuing at the moment. In terms of seasonality, here you go, just on the higher time frames, you can just see how substantial that move was. Large breakout to the upside. Seasonality wise, natural gas from a supply and demand perspective does tend to pick up towards the winter in the northern hemisphere, so we are seeing that on the fundamentals. We're seeing a nice breakout to the upside at the moment, waiting really for the next technical setup here. We've had a beautiful breakout, getting a bit of indecision on the daily here, but it's been a fantastic move over the last week. In contrast to this, we've had some really good sell short opportunities on both WTI and Brent this week as we continue to break down past 2-year lows here. You can see here we had a consolidation over the last week or so where really Brent and WTI were trying to make up their mind here as to whether they would break out of these key resistance zones. We were looking at a key breakout of above the 88 level or just below the swing lows here from last week as well. And we did actually have a nice breakdown. So of the 84 level this week, which gave us an entry, one of our top trades this week, and coming down to hit the 82 zone. At the moment, we're seeing a little bit more consolidation again here just prior to non-farm payroll, and I'll be looking at a breakout again of this consolidation. So I'm looking for potentially further downside here for the oils. You can see we're just consolidating over the last 4 days, and a break of around the 81.50 level will give us further downside here, certainly for Brent, and I'll be looking out for that trade opportunity today. Any rotations higher here? Yes, we could get a breakout back up to 88 as well on a bullish move here. So if we do get a breakout, but I think previous support here may provide resistance around the 84.50 level. So I'll be more inclined to say, well, I would definitely be more interested in a sell short and a continuation. We've got a lot of confidence there on the higher time frames for more downside for oil at the moment, technically anyway. If we go over to light sweet crude oil continued to break down this week as well. Actually pretty good breakdown here in price. We've come down. We had about a 300 point move lower. As we continue to stay within this overall downward trend, you can see that very clearly. We're just continuing on the higher time frames to break down lower here with oil. I wouldn't be looking just to be a hero here and try and pick a bottom. At the moment, it looks like we might be developing just a bear flag formation here. So this is where the market will sell off, and then it will just give you some higher lows here, higher highs, but not actually take out the previous swing high. And then we'll just be looking for a continuation and a sell short again and a break lower. So that's what I'm looking at the moment for light sweet crude oil. For potential for additional downside, we've got, if you just put in the trend lines there, you can see this trend line quite clearly where it's been restricted a little bit to the upside. So I think we might well get another opportunity to get in short here. But again, we have to see what the non-farm payroll, how that comes out, the figures and how they affect oil. But I'm looking for additional entries short on both WTI and Brent. Not really interested in going long against the trend at the moment. Moving over to the softs, so wheat has continued to break down this week. We've seen some nice technical sell shorts here as the market is broken down on wheat. In contrast to that, actually, corn has continued. Although it's pulled back, it's still staying within a major trend channel. So we'll see whether wheat does manage to find support around circa the 510 level here if we get a bounce off this key level or previous support. We've had a good run on wheat recently. Corn as well, a little bit of indecision, but we are maintaining this upward trending channel at the moment on corn. And we can see that we've actually gone out to higher time frames. We have got a really nice trend here, which is starting to develop on the higher time frames as well. So we look like we're just getting a bit of a pullback at the moment, but ultimately we could get higher prices as we go into next week. Again, very interested to see how the markets close today on the Friday close for both wheat and corn. Okay, so those are really the top markets that we're going to be having a look at this afternoon and keeping an eye on before non-farm payroll. So the markets which will definitely be the most severely impacted by non-farm payroll will be the precious metals and the energies as well. So definitely you want to be keeping an eye on gold during that. The US dollar index. We'll be looking at the other metals as well, platinum, copper, of course, silver and oil as well will be certainly a big one which will be in play this afternoon. So especially a breakdown here, potential breakdown on Brent either below the 81.50 or break above 84.50. I think that could really give us a key move today. So really excited about non-farm payroll. That's going to be about the next 2 hours and 15 minutes. We'll actually be doing our webinar this afternoon with all of our traders for trading non-farm payroll. So in fact, if you'd like to find out more, so that's it in terms of the technicals. I don't think there's any more questions on that in terms of the preparation for today's non-farm payroll. But if you'd like to find out more about how to trade these news announcements live with the Gold and Silver Club, you can find out more about our live trading room program. Very simply, to request information on the Gold and Silver Club live trading room program and daily trade calls, you can go to www.jointhegoldandsilverclub.com or contact us at our London, our New York, our Sydney, our Johannesburg or the Budapest office on the numbers on the screen there. I'll leave those on in just a second. And of course, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter at www.thegoldandsilverclub.com. You'll receive free weekly reports on the precious metals, energies and agriculture, as well as live market analysis and prices. So do make sure you take advantage of that. Okay, and I shall leave these details on the screen for you here. Okay, super. Right, so that's it for today's session, everyone. I look forward to hear from those of you who would like to get in touch about the live trading room, and we'll see you all at the same time next week. Okay, have a great weekend, everyone. Have a good NFP. We'll see you on the next one. Okay, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.